Welcome back to the show. Tuesday, March 23rd, our first episode of Goal Line Extended. We are glad that you are here watching and or listening. As a reminder, the show is available on YouTube at youtube.com/Goal Line Extended and across whatever podcast platforms you might be using. On YouTube, we will be posting the full show as well as shorter clips from the show. So make sure you go check that out and subscribe. You can also follow along at GLE Extended on Instagram and Twitter. We will be posting show clips as well across social media, so make sure to check that out. Links will be in the description below. And joining us now is one of the newest members of the Cannons Lacrosse Club. He was selected 5th overall by Coach Quirk in the entry draft earlier this month after a breakout rookie season in the PLO Championship Series this past summer with the Chrome, and he is now hoping to help his new team defend a title because, as we all know with the PLO this summer, there are two teams looking to defend a championship. So without further ado, joining us now, Cannons LSM, Reece Eddy. Reece, thank you for joining us, my friend.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Absolutely. So Reece, we haven't spoken since the 2020 championship series pretty much wrapped up. The last time we talked was right after you got drafted. You went off. That I think that's like the best way to say it. You went off here in this 2020 PLO Championship Series. We were thinking like, oh, rookie Reece Eddy, a bunch of new young polls kind of with this Chrome group, and all of a sudden it was like Reece Eddy just kind of came up out of nowhere. You were in the conversation not just for Defensive Rookie of the Year, which first off you would have won if there was a Defensive Rookie of the Year. I probably would have given you my vote if there was a Rookie of the Year. You and Grant Amen obviously being the two. You were in the conversation for LSM of the championship series. How, like, just wrapping your head around all of that, how did that, like, just looking back on it, wrapping your head around it, how does it feel?
No, it was a crazy 2 weeks for sure. I mean, I didn't have much for expectations going into it. Obviously, rookie coming in with the 18 people on the roster, obviously you think you're going to get some playing time, but getting there and then getting set up, meeting all the guys, that first couple of days of practice, it was an awesome experience. And obviously the accolades are good and all, but we didn't get the job done at the end, but still an incredible experience.
Now you're leaving that group. What was like the conversation? Because I mean, I figured you were going to get protected. I think a lot of people figured you were going to get protected, but then you look at it again, it's like, all right, so there are a few names where I guess you could say I wouldn't have been the one to try. I first of all wouldn't have wanted to be the person to decide that. So you will credit Coach Sudan here. I wouldn't, if I had that job, I don't know what I would have done. Because really looking at all the rosters, your team, well, Chrome's team's roster was one of, I think, the more difficult ones to break up, if that makes sense. It was one of the, I think, one of the more difficult ones to say, all right, so here's the 14 I want to keep. And then there's other guys like yourself where it's like, oh, he's a young player who, put on a show here in this championship series. We want to keep him around. But then again, I guess you look at that mindset of, oh, like we put two guys available or you're available. I guess for a guy like Andy Towers, he is probably stoked right now that Troy Ray's coming back, but probably would have been the same way if Troy Ray was to get selected and not you. It would have been the same thing for Coach Sudan. But you're joining the Cannons. Excited about that, obviously. What were those conversations like with Coach Quirk just leading up to the expansion draft?
Yeah, so he called me it was probably a week or so before the draft. I was on my way home from work. It was a quick talk. It was probably like 5 minutes. He goes, "You interested in playing?" I said, "Of course I am." There was no doubt in my mind with that answer. So, he's been shooting some texts in our little group chat, getting everyone fired up. So I'm excited to get after it with him.
Like I said, you got, as of right now, all he knows is he's defending a championship, just like the Whip Snakes are.
Yeah,
putting together a mindset going in. We're going to be putting together a whole new team this coming Thursday, but as of right now, he's trying to defend a title. That's got to be the mindset.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was the message in the group chat as well. Everyone has low expectations of a new team coming in with a bunch of new guys. So the bar is low for everyone else for us, but I think we have a pretty high standard going into it. So I'm excited.
So these guys, besides the players, obviously that got drafted, that were on Chrome last year as well, do you know any of these guys or have ever talked to any of these other guys that now you're going to be teammates with?
Just from playing, being in the bubble, you get to talk to some of them. Obviously, it was a little different this year because they try to separate us with everything going on. But I know Buzik and everything from Sam Duggan, obviously high school, and then played with him in the bubble. just people just from playing lacrosse. Outside of that, nothing too serious.
That's probably also got to be really I guess I'm trying to think of a better word for it, but you got a guy like Connor Busick, a guy like Paul Rabel already there, Brody Merrill coming in. You're gonna be working with a lot of veteran, and you're probably gonna be bringing Lyle Thompson. I don't know if you're gonna. I was gonna ask you, do you know who you're picking? But
No, I have no idea.
I'd imagine
It'll
Lyle
be it'll be
Thompson. If it's not Lyle Thompson, there might be a an uprising, honestly, amongst the lacrosse Twitter world. But guys like Connor Busick, Brody Merrill, Paul Rabel, just veteran guys that you're going to be able to learn from. What's really the takeaways you're hoping to take away from those experiences with those guys?
I mean, those guys you're listening are just some legendary people. Obviously well known to the lacrosse community. So going into it, that's just try to be a sponge the whole time. Just absorb everything they're saying, and just try to follow in their footsteps is the least I could do.
Oh yeah, those are some big shoes to fill. And then obviously, I would imagine if they got drafted, we heard the quotes from Coach Quirk saying that he wanted to bring Rabel in obviously immediately. I would imagine the expectation would be that there's not going to be like a 1-2 year thing. It's going to be a multi-year thing. Even with Busick having his Cornell job, I guess we're going to be looking at a pretty big, or I guess long tenure for these guys that you'll be able to play with. Brody Merrill, we're not sure, 38, but he's still kicking. I'd imagine he's still going. You're planning on going.
Yeah, I'm sure he's still got an extra few years in him.
Oh yeah. Entry draft's coming up for your team. You got the first pick. You say you don't know who you're taking, but I'd imagine you're taking Lyle. You do have the 6th overall pick, though. Just being from a player perspective, what would you think that would be a good addition for your new Kansas Lacrosse Club?
I mean, that good thing I would get paid to make those decisions. So that's hard. You got all those guys that are extremely skilled and talented. So I would never have any idea how to put together a roster. So that question's best served for the people higher than me.
Oh yeah, we'll leave that on Coach Quirk. But yeah, the entry draft's coming up. Your team picks first after a solid 18 plus Paul Rabel in the draft in that trade. So do you have a March Madness pick for me?
Syracuse +3 tonight, baby.
Syracuse.
Yep. All right. Have to. That's a given. You have to. Hometown. You can't go anywhere else.
You are from Syracuse. You're from up north New York.
Yeah, upstate Syracuse, right outside of Syracuse.
All right.
I mean, I think if I said anything else, I'd have some people after me.
Well, you were a Canisius guy before Boston University.
Yep.
Where's Canisius?
Canisius in Buffalo.
Canisius.
So it's like,
okay.
Yeah, it's 2 hours outside of Syracuse. About. Yeah, so that was you're still a Cuse fan all the way out there.
There we go. I got Illinois. I'm rocking Illinois.
You have to. I mean, won by 31 or something earlier today.
Boston University. You guys have kind of had it tough this season thus far over at BU. You did have that close one with Army not too long ago. What's the hopes here back half of the NCAA season for your alma mater?
I mean, I'm sure the spirits are high after that. Obviously, you don't want to lose, but to have a close one like that to Army's an extremely tough and hard team to play. So I think the expectations are going up for them. I think they had a great win last weekend against, I think it was Holy Cross, and then they got a good one against Colgate tomorrow. So I think expectations are Patriot League championship, or I mean that's everyone's expectation as you're playing, but I think they got it in them. They got the young guys coming out that are showing out. So I think expectations is definitely a championship for them.
So now in the Patriot League, it's Boston, it's Loyola, it's Lehigh,
Colgate.
I'm thinking that the two that Boston will be competing with, Lehigh and Loyola. We saw them go down. They went at it a few weeks ago. Lehigh beat them, right? Yeah. Loyola didn't look good.
Loyola, it was like 10-6, something like that.
Yeah. So that's what we're working with. Any guys from Boston right now, seniors, maybe juniors, that you're thinking possible PLL material?
Andrew Volk, for sure. He's a short stick D-man. Have to shout him out.
All right.
Yeah,
Is
there's
he
that roster. That roster's loaded though. There's some guys that are sneaky picks that could definitely make it out here.
short stick D midi? The thing with the PLL, obviously the short field, you excelled on the short field. So really, it's just finding those types of guys that would be able to take advantage of the quick transition, the right off the face off wings, winning ground balls, getting right into quick offense. You were able to do that pretty much all summer and look very good doing that. And now you're gonna be doing it with the Cannons. Three face-off guys that Coach Quirk took. So three guys that you might be working with. What's your, based on connections you have with those guys, conversations you've had with those guys, what's the plan looking at this summer in terms of the face-off wings? Because I'd imagine I'll be seeing you out there on one of those wings for these guys.
I mean, I have no game plan. Just kind of work off of them. They're the ones who deal it, and then I just kind of react to it. So, like this past summer with Farrell and Forbes, you just kind of go out there. They'll instruct you what to do. So you trust them, and then you just kind of hope you're in the right spot for it. Kind of react to it, anticipate more than anything.
Yeah, you were getting some nice ground balls. I just know that last year. You had Schreiber on one. We had a highlight package put together. I don't know if we're gonna be able to use it, but we do have a highlight package put together. And it literally the first clip was of you stripping Tom Schreiber and that sick ground ball pickup that you had.
Did you guys cut off the clip where I threw it away right after?
Yep. Well, we had it in
Thank
there,
you.
but that was the first clip, and that was the first thing I saw, and I was just like, first off, by the graphic that we have, it's pretty cool. And then the clip followed. I was like, whoa, like I was not ready for that. I knew he did that at some point, but I just was not ready for that clip to come at me so fast like that. But
yeah, that was definitely a lucky check, but I'll take credit for it.
lucky trail
Yeah,
checks.
you always gotta be grateful for those.
So first season in the PLO, was it what you expected? In terms of the
Probably a little.
competition,
Yeah.
obviously it was weird being that it was in the bubble, but
Mm-hmm.
I guess really just the pro feel, because I know that's what we were talking with some guys last year when I was doing the former show that I had, and a lot of the guys were saying it was just the jump from you're just kind of just flying in on a Friday to play a game on a Saturday, you're out by Sunday, but this was obviously a different situation. But even with expecting it to be this summer, it's going to be coming have a nice practice the day, the morning before the game. And then you have the game, you hang out with the team afterwards. What has really just the whole experience been like compared to what you expected?
I mean, it exceeded expectations for sure. It kind of brought you back to summer lacrosse where you hang out with your teammates all day and kind of joke around, do whatever you want for a little bit. And then when it comes time to be serious, you play lacrosse. So it was definitely exceeded expectations for me. And the pro feel was definitely there. You come from college, you're either in school, you're playing lacrosse. So it was a little different not to have to focus on school and actually play lacrosse and hang out with the guys. So, I mean, being catered on pretty much the whole entire time, not have to pay for anything. You can't beat that.
And you had a pretty tight knit group. I feel like all the teams had pretty tight knit groups, but you guys, it seemed like specifically, had a very tight knit group for Chrome. Obviously, that gets broken up, sort of. For the most part, they keep their core group of guys, but just that whole experience with them, what was that like?
I mean, they were awesome. That was a fun group for sure. There was never a dull moment in practice, games, or hotels. So Coach Sudo definitely picked the right group of guys there, and obviously they have some history being on the Rattlers and from there on. But they're definitely a fun group of guys. There's some quotes that are probably inappropriate that I can't say, but that'll be memories forever for sure.
We had John Rannigan back before the season started. It might have been the weekend or 2 weekends before the season started, and he had me laughing pretty much the entire time.
No,
Yeah, we had him on for the
he
interview.
was something else. That him and Wolf going back and forth are a great combo.
That defensive group that you were with last year, it was Pulver. Pulver's now coming with you to the Cannons. Guys like Eli Salama. What'd you learn from those guys? Just in terms of them being pros, you being the new college guy coming in. What'd you learn from those guys?
I mean, they're all solid. It's definitely a transition from college lacrosse where you're getting on someone at like 14 yards. I had Galloway in my ear when I'm not on them by like 20. So there's definitely a little bump in the road with that. But all those guys, Jesse, Pulver, Manley, they're all solid guys where they're going to coach you through the things in the game as they're happening, as well as after practice and some film. So I was very grateful for them taking me along, kind of show me how the ropes, and they definitely made the transition a little easier for me.
I was about to say, working with a guy like John Galloway as a young player just seems like the perfect fit, perfect match. If I was a young player, I feel like that would be the guy I'd want directing me, or him,
Oh
or I
yeah,
guess I would say Brody Merrill. So you're gonna have the best of both worlds. You can go from Galloway to a guy like Brody Merrill. That's gonna really have you in check, the entire
yeah,
defense as a group in check. And then hopefully minimize mistakes and not allow goals, win some
yeah,
games. Oh yeah.
yeah, yeah. It was a learning curve to start learning from Galloway, but then you got the hang of where he wanted you to be. So he let you know if you were in the right place or the wrong place. So definitely was a fun summer with him.
So 3 face-off guys. What are we thinking? Do all 3 of these guys make the team?
I'm not. I'm like I said, I'm not the coach, so I don't make
22,
the decision.
22 spots, 22 game spots, I think. I don't know if they locked up the game spots number yet, but I'm
Yeah,
thinking it's 22 spots. I've heard rumors of trade one of them for someone else. I don't know how that works. I don't know, but I guess we'll see how that all shakes out. I was just very intrigued when I was sitting on the beach, by the way, Key West,
oh, that's
listening to the draft, and they named off the second face-off. I don't know who they took. I think they took Fowler before Kelly, and they said Fowler, and I was like, well, I was actually one of the few people that I think was expecting possibly 2 goalies and possibly 2 face-off guys. And I just wasn't thinking Fowler. And I was like, oh, Fowler got taken. I guess that's the direction they want to go with Semino. And then they go Kelly. And I was like, what? They said Jack Kelly or Steven, like Tommy Kelly. But figured that out. I was just very surprised. Leave it at that. I was
yeah,
very surprised. Coach Quirk went with 3, but obviously the entry draft pool. I think it's going to be an entry draft, and then possibly the day after there might be a
there's
slew of
probably gonna be some
signings,
trades. Yep,
trades. I'm thinking there's
yep,
teams filled up probably to 30. So the
yeah,
competition gets even hotter at that point.
absolutely. I mean, there's how many teams in the ML last year, and then only one new one being
6.
added. So you got 5 teams worth of guys that are just out there. So there's a lot of competition for sure coming in. It'll be nice. It'll be definitely be more competitive than normal. So I look forward to it.
What were your initial thoughts on the PLL MLL merger?
I mean, I was excited. There was always that like beef, which one's better, and that stupid stuff. But now it's just great for the sport. I mean, you get all these people tweeting about it, make social media getting out there. Chris Hogan coming, that just makes the sport. It takes it to a whole nother level where people are taking it more serious. So it was definitely a great move on both ends.
The Chris Hogan signing, I wasn't surprised by. I feel like I felt that was coming for a while. Um, once I kind of was like, oh, he's kind of dwindling out of his football career. I was like, it seems like what's going to happen, and it happened. So I'm pretty
Mm-hmm.
pat myself here on the back, even though I never
We
even
should have
made
leaked it.
never made public my thoughts and my opinion that I thought that was going to happen. But maybe next time we should start tweeting out bold
Yeah,
predictions.
should. No, I mean, he's probably one of the best athletes if he comes in, and when he comes in, he's going to be one of the best athletes no matter what. So I think he'll have a pretty good shot at making a roster at some point, or if not this year.
Fortunately, you probably won't have to be covering him. I think he's going to be a defensive midi, so you
Well,
might
I
be
hope I don't have
good.
to do anything in transition. Yeah,
I
he'll
feel
have
like
some shake that I don't know if I'll be able to handle.
I feel like he's going to be a transition nightmare now that you say it.
Yeah, 100%.
He's going to be flying down probably in like Atlas blue. Probably not an Atlas blue now. At
I
first,
don't
there was
know.
a thought he's going to be an Atlas blue. He might be in your Cannons blue now. So maybe you'll be
I wouldn't
playing
be
with him.
bad. That'd be way better than having to deal with him.
Very exciting
It's
stuff. Reece,
awesome.
I'm glad you came on. Glad you joined in. First guest on Goal Line Extended. Hopefully, many more ahead of
Yeah,
us.
hopefully many more. I'm always
Absolutely.
up for these.
Absolutely. Reece, thank you so much for joining me, my man. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. And we'll talk to you soon. Hopefully, talk to you very soon.